Hey, in case you missed it, there's actually a holiday in Korea this week, so if you're wondering where maintenance is, well, apparently the break's on a break. So there's not actually going to be a maintenance on Neo until the new patch coming out on the 14th, which leaves a lot of room for a whole lot of nothing. There's one single piece of news to cover this week, and besides that, I'm just going to turn this into a bit of an opinion piece, so stay tuned for that if you care. Let's get to it. Starting out with the only piece of actual news that we have, of course, there has been a mystery outfit chest out for the last week. You can get one of 3 outfits from it. It is a legendary outfit called Recruit, or 2 other outfits called Special Operative and Azure Stream. Now, the Azure Stream and Special Operatives sell for about 12.5 gold, 12.875 gold per, and the Recruit legendary outfit sells for about 100 gold per if you're selling these to the merchants in-game. These mystery outfit chests go for 250 divine gems per in the Divine Gem shop on F10, and you're going to need about 100 of them in order to try to get the Recruit, since it's a 1% chance drop rate in the box. Do keep in mind that, let's say you buy 8 of these chests, and you end up getting 8 of either the Special Operative or Azure Stream ones without getting the Recruit outfit, you are spending about 2,000 DG on just about 100 gold. So the returns will not be nearly as worth it as just simply buying gold off the market for 1,600 DG or whatever the price is currently. Or buying an outfit off of the F10 shop and then just simply selling that outfit straight up for gold. And now on to my favorite part, the part where I get to espouse my opinion to people who don't fucking care for a few minutes just to make this video a little longer, so it's not just here's a little bit of news and that's all we got for now. But I wanted to talk today about something that was brought up in a game suggestions tab on Discord. For those who don't know, if you're on the Discord, there is a game suggestions place where you can go and suggest things for the game, and the devs will listen to that and probably never actually take that into account or work on that. But it is a place for everyone to vent about their frustrations and talk about things that they wish would happen in the game. Today's topic, skill book supply. This was interesting. I found it just now, but it was posted on the 25th of September and responded to a day after. There's only 2 people who actually made posts about it, but I thought it was a very interesting conversation to have. Basically talking about how it is very difficult to progress with books when you are in a class that is not very well populated on your server. Now, a lot of classes might feel this sting, especially classes like, at least in NA, Warlock and Destroyer are very, very, very low population classes. However, Destroyers are getting quite a bit more popular given their current increase in power with their Soul Badge and the 48 GM Master Executes that just absolutely obliterate everything. However, that aside, it is still an issue if you're considering the fact that you have a class that is very underpopulated, and especially if you don't have a ton of high rollers in that class to really hold up the rest of everyone, you're not going to have a whole lot of books flooding the market. Now, of course, there are plenty of people playing this game, there's plenty of books on the market all the time, but because drops in this game are class specific, it makes it really, really difficult when you're part of those low population classes. Classes like Force Master and Blade Master, some of the most popular classes in the game, have almost no problem getting all of their books. In fact, there's actually so much of a demand for a lot of the legendary books because there are so many whales amongst that population that they end up being the most anticipated or most sought after legendary books and high priced ones in the market anyways, even though there's more of them and there's more supply than any other class, which I find hilarious. But everyone knows that everyone wants those books, so everyone gets those books and sells them. Conversely, when you end up in a class that is not populated by many whales, you end up with people who get the books they want, sit on the books they want, and then have no reason to actually go and make more product for the rest of the class. There's not enough people willing to buy nor sell in order to really help the people who are kind of stuck in that in-between. People who might have some stuff they need but might need other things. A suggestion to fix this was, hey, why not make books droppable by the skill button? Let's say if you drop a 4 book, it can apply to any classes 4. If you drop an F book, it can apply to any classes F. And the problem with this is There are dual uses for some of the keys, particularly that F key, which ends up being a more situational skill use based off of other skills currently in your rotation. So the F key alone can be one of like a billion different skills, and there's no way to say which F skill that would then turn into if you were to get a skill book like that. Now, I will say that I do like the idea of this if you're trying to maybe get skill books for the rest of the population, maybe make it something a bit more globally valuable, maybe make it so chests can be sold on market just as is or as blank books so people can pick them up without needing to worry about like, oh, is this a X class or Y class or Z class book? The other thing that NCSoft can do, help people or incentivize people to make a bunch of books to put on market. And I think they did a really good job of this with the Ha-Jun's Tome and the Battle Pass event that came out now 3 or 4 weeks ago. We had a battle pass that gave a whole lot of green, blue, purple pages, possibly even legendaries for those who got lucky. And then of course Ha-Jun's Tome also had a lot of chances to get that if that was the option you chose to transmute out of your special little stones. And a whole lot of people benefited from this. I myself was able to make quite a few random purple books that either sold on market or I was able to use myself if I got lucky. And I think a whole lot of people saw this and were very happy about this. For a little while, the market situation did improve, even for low population classes. However, that is very short-lived. And sooner rather than later, the market gets wiped out again after something like that, and then you just have an entire dry period. Now, it really depends if you're okay with these periods of high and low escalation, where you're kind of just living like every month there is a week or two period where everyone has access to this because of Battle Pass rewards, Ha-Jun rewards, whatever else you might have in the game. But other people might find that really, really frustrating, especially if they can't afford books at the time when there's stuff available, and then come 2 or 3 weeks later, they suddenly have to wait for an extended period of time or try to use the resources on something else because they're trying to progress their character and they can't afford to wait that time. The only other option that I can personally think of that would be able to help alleviate these symptoms on the market is if the company itself stepped in and basically put books on the market that were just generated out of thin air. Now, this can go one of two ways. It can either help stabilize the item economy in the game, or it can completely disrupt the entire economy of the game and just kind of throw a lot of shit in the trash. Which is why I'm sure they probably just haven't done something like that, or nor do they want to do it. It's very hard for a company to actually put something, just inject it in the market without having a person who actually understands not only like market economics, but also actively plays the game to know what the economics look like for each of the classes and all the people and tiers of people playing this game. And it doesn't seem like that's going to happen anytime soon. So I would love to see that if there was the potential for it, but I would have to say that idea is kind of thrown out the window. For now, it seems like we're kind of just stuck with waiting on Ha-Jun's tomes and battle passes. I hope to God the next battle pass has something similar to the one that the last battle pass did. It was incredibly helpful for everyone. Thinking back to it now, there is one other situation that injects these books back into the market, but it's not a pretty one. It's when high tier players who have all these books quit, and unfortunately that seems to be happening more and more in the last few weeks. The spectacle and the grace that was the Silver Frost release has now died off, and with people kind of over it, it seems like a lot of people are now choosing to leave this game again. Some people were brought back to the game from Silver Frost. A lot of people I've seen are actually starting the game, either returning or new in Silver Frost. I think the game has become exceptionally better than it was pre-Silver Frost update. However, I think a lot of players who were really invested in their class for a long time and hoping for even bigger changes, or probably just hoping that Silver Frost changed something that never was going to change to begin with, are now starting to finally feel a fall off and get out of the game. And I've seen this a lot more with high tier players than low tier players, but of course that's also because that's a spectacle. Anytime some big name leaves, you end up with all these things on the market for sale, and it's kind of a free-for-all who gets them, and it's kind of the buzz of the town for the day. Fortunately, there is that kind of event to inject it, but I hope we get less of that as the game continues, or else there won't be a game to continue much longer. But outside of high tier players quitting and the company actually injecting new random bullshit items into the market by itself, it seems like people playing low population classes are going to have to suffer about 3 weeks out of the month and just wait for that 1 or 2 week grace period where everyone has all these extra pages to flood the market with anything that they might need. and in time you'll get there, I promise. Until then, I guess it's best of luck to you. Well, with that awkward and completely unthought out and unprepared topic of discussion out of the way, I hope you have a great day, and I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I will catch you next time. Let me know if you found the bestie bottle in the comments, and until then,